back again to Classic Attic Toys. After a little bit of a hiatus, we had a chance to go back up into the attic and find a few more treasures. A series of Lego hobby models from the 1970s. We have, basically it is the Formula One car brick set number 392, released back in 1975. We have the Lunar Lander brick set number 367, also released back in 1975. Brick set number 390, this is a 1913 Cadillac model, released in 75. And then a very small model, this is the Spirit of St. Louis Flyer, brick set number 661, released in 1976. These are some what I call hobby sets, and they, during that period of time in 1975, they made use of what I call just some rudimentary bricks as compared to what they have right now, where they have a lot more form, functional, and specifically made components. They did a really good job with what they had during that period of time, and I think it's actually shows a little bit of the lineage of Lego. A little bit of the backstory was that we were stationed, my family was stationed in Frankfurt, Germany. My dad was in the military. And these were wrapped up in newspaper from that time frame, and I just saved one of them. This is the Stars and Stripes. It was a military newspaper. They billed themselves as the authorized unofficial publication for the U.S. Armed Forces. This is dated Tuesday, July 19th of 1977. We moved towards the end of 1977, so we made use of a lot of these papers to wrap up some of the Legos that I had from that time frame. So it's a little bit of a backstory relative to these particular hobby sets that I received between 1975 and 1977. So let's go through this. You know, the brick set number 392, it's the instructions associated with it are pretty easy to follow. They provide you with all the bricks that you needed, and it put it in a format that allowed you to follow through for purposes of doing the build. There's a little bit of a specification associated with this Formula car. My assumption that it is a Formula One car from the 1970s. I don't know specifically which one it is. Maybe you can feedback in the comments as to what you might believe that this is. But it has the Shell sponsorship, and it shows that it's a 3-liter engine for developing 475 horsepower with speeds well over 150 miles an hour. So a little bit of stats associated with this particular car, the Formula One car. I like the fact that it has rubberized wheels, and it has what is indicative of a V8 engine. I believe that that's what that is. But I enjoyed being able to build this as well as being able to put the stickers on it. Transitioning over to brick set number 367, the Lunar Lander. Okay, so it was true to form from the standpoint of when the Lunar Lander landed on the moon. There was 2 stages associated with it, and for purposes of weight saving, when they finally did leave the moon, this separates into the second stage, and this went back up into orbit to rendezvous with the command module. It's provided with a lunar rover as well as 3 astronauts. It has some equipment, the American flag. I was impressed with the ladder. That was probably one of the more specific components that they made for this particular set. The one thing that is not accurate from from the standpoint of landing on the moon was that there were only 2 astronauts that landed on the moon. There was a third that was in the command module that was orbiting the moon. And I think the reason why they have 3 of them is just a nod to the fact that there were 3 persons that were participating in the trip to the moon, although only 2 astronauts landed on the moon. So a nice piece. I really enjoyed being able to build this piece. Transitioning over to brick set number 390. This is the 1913 Cadillac. A little bit less power than our Formula One model, and 4-cylinder, 6 liters. developing 40 to 50 horsepower, probably on par with today's riding lawnmower, 45 miles per hour top speed, and a two-seater. I was impressed by the fact that it had the large format wheels, and it as a 1913 Cadillac was a really good rendition of a hobby set model, paying homage to Cadillac, from Lego. The brick set number 661, Spirit of St. Louis, a small model with very easy to follow instructions, as all of the other ones were. And I remember putting this together and having it hanging by a little piece of twine or a little piece of string, maybe even thread, in my room, so it was almost invisible, the thread. I enjoyed being able to put this together, as I did everything else. All these things stayed in a box for quite some time until I uncovered them. The majority of them were all taken out of the box with all of the pieces put together. There were some pieces that needed to be reassembled, but this was a nice series of hobby sets that came from Lego, and it kind of shows a little bit of how Lego started and how they've transitioned into what they're making right now. So again, thank you for taking a look at what we have to offer here with what we're showing from Classic Attic Toys. I'm hoping to be able to go back into the attic a little bit more quickly than I did the last time, and not have a several months hiatus. Welcome back. We'll get a chance to see what else comes out of the attic soon.